All right, everybody, we welcome you out to Dublin High School. We caught up with head coach Roger Holmes, and always good to come out, Coach. Even in hot weather, when you're on the football field, kids are practicing, you get in that mood, don't you?
Well, it's football time. It really is,
Yeah.
and you finish up this month of June, and I don't care where you are in the state of Georgia. After that dead week at Georgia High School mandates, the 4th of July week, after that, it's wide open. And so our kids are putting in their work right now. We're getting ready next week, Wednesday and Thursday next week from 9 to 11. And then 9 to 11 and 2:15 to 4:45. We've got other teams coming into town, and it's something that Georgia High School is allowed to start happening. And basically, you're practicing against other teams in shorts, shoulder pads, and helmets. It's great work. People that love football can come out here and get a look. You're welcome to come. There's no charge. It's at the practice field. And just see teams from around the area and watch the young men and get your scouting report, I guess, before the season starts.
You're going to see who's got the speed, who's got the hands.
Yeah.
You're going to see who on the team that you're going to see those names. You're going to hear those names called, and you're going to lock in on them.
Going to lock in, and as coaches, that's what we're looking for. You go through spring practice, but you only get to work against yourself. Now, next year, they've changed the rules and going to let everybody have a scrimmage game if they want to in the spring. But right now, this is the first time you get to see your kids line up and compete against somebody in another color helmet.
Yes.
And as coaches, that's what we're looking for more than anything, is that guy that's going to compete. And when it gets hard, is he going to continue to fight through? And that's all part of what this great game of football teaches these young men.
Coach, and you're good at teaching it, and there's no doubt about it. And, Coach, the last time we came out and we spoke with you folks, you may remember, you had some positive things to say. We had a couple of holes to fill.
Yep.
A couple of people got to step up in places, and it's kind of hard to do without pads on.
Yes.
But as far as you keep your 7 players, the 7-on-7, which we watched and we've heard about for years. And last year, I believe, was the first year that you started with shoulder pads.
That's
it
right.
was only
We
shorts
started
and
that
helmets
shoulder
before
pad
that,
camp
right?
last year, and
That
and
makes
it
a difference, doesn't it?
it was huge. Now, up until last year, I've always taken my football players away to football camp. And it's a tough week, it's a tough grind.
Right.
But as they change the rules, now you can have 2-a-days only, one day, but the next day you have to only practice once a day. And it basically made camp where it was non-existent as far as taking the kids away. It wasn't worth it economically.
Sure.
So what we did was we found a way to get teams together and compete in these short shoulder pads and helmets, and it's huge.
Yeah. And so we're looking at, you say this coming week.
Next week, I think it's 28th and 29th. It's Wednesday and Thursday.
All right. We got the morning session, afternoon session.
Right. Now, it may be 29th, 30th. Can't remember the dates, but it's Wednesday, Thursday of next week. We've got Metter coming up.
Yes, sir.
We've got Windsor Forest out of Savannah, and we have New Hampstead out of the Savannah area. It's a school that opened up down there 3 or 4 days ago. So both of those schools are 4A schools, and then you've got Metter, which is a 2A program.
Sure.
So
Had a
it'll
lot of
be good
speed
work
last
here.
year, didn't it?
And then we come back, we're going to have another one of these July 18th and 19th. It's a Monday and Tuesday. We've got 5 schools going to be here then. Twiggs County, Rutland, Evans, us, and Toombs County.
Good.
So there'll be 5 teams here on the 18th and 19th of July, and they'll be ready to rock and roll
You're
then.
going to get some good looks, Coach.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No
Okay,
doubt.
so let's talk about the 7 on offense.
Okay, 7-on-7 offensive
Yes, sir.
people. Well, right now our quarterback is Ramon Pittman, and he's made a lot of improvements since this time last year. And he's backed up by Rodriguez Martin. Rodriguez is a sophomore, played our JV quarterback last year. He's done a really good job. Tight end Malik Jones, Stephen Linton. Malik showed some really nice things at the 7-on-7 tournament we went to up in North Georgia. Your fullback, Jermaine Cooley. We've also had a young man move in by the name of Isaac Phillips. He's done a really good job for us at fullback, but you've also got Jesse Jones, Stacy Sharp, 2 sophomores to be that'll compete in that area. Our right halfback for us right now has been one of 3 or 4 different people, but I guess right now the leader of the pack is Eric Roberson. He's a senior. He's working with Tyler Strickland that'll be a sophomore and doing a tremendous job, got a lot of ability, and DJ Blackshear. Our left half, we feel like we've got 3 capable young men there, and Montarian Carswell is probably the most skilled at catching the football and doing those type things. So we got a good group. We've got some depth there. Our offensive line is the area right now where we've got to continue to create the depth.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's where you win and lose games is up front.
Right.
And
yes,
we think we got a good nucleus, but we've got some young kids that are going to have to develop and be able to help us.
Yeah, and you know, you can teach technique, and that's important. You know, you've always coached the first step's the most important.
Yes, sir.
You know, you got to make that first step right. And you can teach all that now, but until you put on those pads, and like you say, until you get a chance to knock around with somebody with a different color helmet.
Yeah.
Because the scout team's a scout team.
Well, I cut up with them and tell them I'm really not going to learn your name till you hit somebody. But that's
Then
a
you know
joke.
their
Yeah,
name,
but boy, the first time
yeah.
they hit somebody, you get
Yeah.
excited. But
Oh, yeah.
you know, we feel like we've got a good group of kids. It's the type of young men that I think our community can be proud of. We're going to hold them to the high standard of accountability, and as long as they do that and they come out here and work every day, we're going to have a good football program.
Yeah, well, you're putting into work, Coach. We'll take a short break, and we're going to talk a little more to Coach Holmes. Stay with us.
If you want a paint that's more than just easy to scrub, if you want a paint that actually repels dirt and grime, if you want a paint that stands up to life's wear and tear, only this can. Regal Select from Benjamin Moore. Paint like no other.
Available at Four Seasons Paint and Floor Covering. All right, we welcome you back. Coach, we're talking about the 7-on-7 competition, and it's just a fact of life that you got kids going to go both ways. You're putting the best player on the field.
Yes.
So let's turn the ball around and say, when we're competing on this 7-on-7, who we going to see defensively, and have you got speed?
We've got what I consider to be a little better than average speed in our starting group that's out there. Right now at the strong safety position, we're using Eric Roberson and Ramon Pittman. Both those kids play offense, but they're both can rest each other on the defensive side. Back at the strong corner position for us, a half-field player, you've got Cortland Horn, you've got Andricus Rollins, the backup quarterback. Those 2 young men are getting playing time there. Montarian Carswell, Tyler Strickland are working at free safety. All right, so now we jump over to our weak corners. Okay, you got Greg Jones and Holden Baisden that are playing weak corner. I forgot wide receivers a minute ago when we talked about offense, which is a huge part. Yeah. But Holden Baisden is kind of a quarterback wide receiver guy. He's going to play a lot of time for us at wide receiver. And also I mentioned Cortland Horn a minute ago in there at the wide receiver. Our linebackers, strong side linebackers, Malik Jones plays tight end. Malik is backed up right now by a freshman. You know, and it could end up Jaquez Evans is that guy, and Jalen Carter is another freshman that's playing some Sam linebacker. Our middle linebacker right now, Dean Clark, okay, and Dean is backed up again by Israel Phillips, the twin brothers that moved in, Isaac and Israel. So those 2 boys will both play linebacker, and then at will linebacker right now, Jermaine Cooley. Is the young man that's got that spot kind of locked down. But, again, we've got to develop that depth and make sure that we're too deep in that area.
Got to be there. Okay, Coach, now you teach 2 things on defense. 2 things a defensive player's got to do. What's that?
Number 1, he's got to run to the football. If they're not going to get off a block and run to the football, they can't play. And number 2 is tackling. And that's, you know, actually that's what we're working on this morning is pursuit and tackling. And you maybe heard us talking with them right there before we came up that those are the 2 most important things of being a defensive football player. And yes, technique is important. You've got to do your job and be where you belong, but none of that's going to matter if you're not going to run to the football and be a great tackler.
Right. So you got some donuts, I'm going to call them.
Well, that's what they call them. And, well, one of the things, you know, I think football is under attack a little bit in the public about the concussions and the concerns of the game. And there's been some modifications that have come along that have, for lack of a better word, have been volunteered to bring along by coaches.
Okay.
To help, and if there's a problem in the game that we're teaching, we want to make it as safe as we possibly can for our kids. The Seattle Seahawks came up with this method of tackling, which they call Seahawk tackling. And the objective of it is to take the head out of the game, to go back to shoulder tackling,
Right.
not putting your face mask in the heart, which is something I've taught for 20 years.
Sure.
Okay, you tackle on an angle, you want your head in front. So all of this Seahawk tackling is about being safe, making it the most safe game you can for these players, but still you've got to tackle and you've got to be well. So it's shoulder tackling, and that's part of what the dummy that you're looking at, that dummy is rolling and is representing a ball carrier. You've got to take the proper angle, head behind, and wrap that thing up and roll with it. So, you know, and when our people look out, for example, and they say, well, Dublin football, they're trying to raise money, they're outselling cards, they're doing touchdown club memberships, and all that stuff is coming up and going on. Well, these 4 dummies that we bought to make this game safer for our players, okay, were $1,600. People really don't understand the cost of what it takes. You know, we've talked on here before, a helmet now is like $300. Shoulder pads are $300.
And you got to have them.
If you want to have a safe, competitive program that's done the way it's supposed to be, you have to fund it. And so when a parent looks around and somebody's asking you to join the touchdown club, understand that what it's all about is providing the best and safest opportunity for these young men to play this game of football, which in turn is going to develop a more hard-nosed young person that knows how to compete, who learns how to be a part of a team or an organization when they graduate school and they go to work. They're held accountable about being on time. There's so many life lessons that can be taught from the game of football that we need that in our schools. And obviously these young people, when they finish our program, we feel like that they're going to be better people to go out in this community and continue to help Dublin be the great place that it is.
Yes, sir. And let me add the respect that they have. Every time I speak with these young people, they look me in the eye. They treat me with respect. You know, they know how to act, Coach, but you demand that out of them. Not only the teamwork, but you demand that they respect each other and other people. So a great program, ladies and gentlemen. You know Dublin high school football, the Fighting Irish have always been at the top, and we want to encourage you to be a part of it again this year. If someone hasn't contacted you, they need to get in touch with Christy Price.
Christy Price is sending out letters and everything right now, and they can leave a voicemail on my phone. And
we
the
got
school,
the numbers at the bottom of the screen
at the school, and get that on there for those people. And you know, we still have some of those cards that we use as our fundraiser, and it's a $20 card, but it's got about $225 or $230 worth of savings on it. So yes, you would be helping our football program, but you can help yourself too. And we still have some. If you want them, stop by the field house. I've got them in my office, and not only would I like to sell you a card, let's talk Dublin football.
Amen. Good, Coach. Thank you so much, Coach. We're going to look forward to coming out and seeing some of the 7-on-7, and we invite you all to come out and participate and show these young men, encourage them throughout the community, as we always say, coaches as well. This is a pivotal time of the year. People don't think about it. They think about, we're going to strap it on, Friday night's coming, whatever, you're right there upon it. But it's now. This is when you win.
This is when teams are made. It's not, you know, once you've got to get all your foundation in now, so that when game week comes, you only have 3 days to get ready for a whole different offense, usually from week to week, or defense. So you've got to teach it now so you can be progressive and once the season gets here. And we look forward to everybody being a part of Dublin High School football.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.